To Syria now, and after 3 years of war and more than 100,000 deaths, Syria's government and representatives from the opposition are to begin talks. UN mediator Lakhdar Brahimi is overseeing the negotiations in Geneva. Brahimi is expected to speak to both sides separately first. It's not clear if they will agree to meet for direct talks. Well, the government's delegation is being led by the Foreign Minister, Walid Muallim. He's labelled the opposition as traitors and has consistently described the conflict as a fight against terrorism. The head of the opposition Syrian National Coalition is Ahmed Jarba. They say it's the Assad regime who are terrorists and the president must go. But many of the rebel fighters inside Syria don't even recognise the SNC. Our diplomatic editor James Bays is joining us live from Geneva now. So James, we're finally here. It's here in Geneva. What's going to happen today?
We're finally here. I remember first getting talk about this Geneva 2 from a diplomat in the Security Council back in April. It's taken this length of time to get these two sides around the table. A very, very important moment, but I don't think anyone here has high expectations that they will be able to reach a deal. Yes, they're hopeful, but it's going to be so difficult. There's such a gap between these two sides on so many issues, and in the end there's that one key issue on which you can't see any way how they're going to come to an agreement. They're supposed to come to something by mutual consent, and that's the future role of the Assad family and President Assad himself in Syria. The government side saying he must be the person leading Syria, he must be the figurehead at the top of Syria, and on the other side the opposition saying we want no one from the Assad family anything to do with the future governance of Syria. When these talks start, they're going to start very slowly. I don't think they're expecting any dramatic developments. I think it's all about trying to build confidence in the opening stages. What's going to happen, as I understand it from UN officials, is that Lakhdar Brahimi, the special representative, is going to have the two sides in the same room for the opening. Just that, I think, will be symbolic, and also he's going to address both sides and try and lay out the ground rules, try and give them an idea of what's at stake in all this when he makes a speech to both of them. Then, though, when it actually comes to the negotiations, yes, they're here in the same building negotiating, but they won't be negotiating in the same room. They'll be going to separate rooms, and Mr. Brahimi will be shuttling back and forth. That's because of a key point. The two sides at the moment aren't even prepared to talk.
And who will be in these rooms exactly, James? Because as we've mentioned, the Syrian Foreign Minister Walid Muallim on the Syrian government side, Ahmed Jarba on the SNC side. But who else is involved in these very important negotiations?
Well, we know the Syrian government delegation, which is a hand-picked team. We're sure that President Assad was involved, personally involved, in who he sent here to Geneva. As you know, the opposition only at the last stage, particularly because of that row over the invitation to Iran, finally agreed to come here. Lakhdar Brahimi, the special representative, had asked for all of these, both sides, to say whether they were coming or not towards the end of December, and had wanted a list of the two negotiating teams at that point. We know the Syrian negotiating team. I can tell you that the Syrian opposition negotiating team has changed a number of times. I was in their hotel this time yesterday, 24 hours ago, and then it was clear that with different factions, different groups, different people wanted different people on the team. I've seen 3 different lists in the last 24 hours. I've seen a recent list, but it's possible it could change again, I think, before these talks start in 2 hours' time.